Hi.
Tori. We are live out on the Camp Chef back patio. What are we making today, John?
Today we're going to show you guys how to do a crown rack out of this rack of lamb. So we're going to do a crown rack of lamb today.
Perfect. And what are we giving away today, John?
So today we're going to give away the Camp Chef Smoke Pro SE. This is our base level model.
Has all the awesome, you can do all the same awesome
features
stuff.
as all of our other pellet grills, just a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact.
Yeah. So we are giving away one of those and a free bag of pellets once we hit 800 shares on this video, you guys. So we're already at 55 live viewers. That's awesome. You guys who are joining us now early, you can get an early start on sharing. You can like and comment to enter, and you could win one of these for your own very own rack of lamb that we are making today.
Should we get cooking?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so these right here, this rack of lamb has already been Frenched for us.
What does that mean?
Which basically means that the butcher has kind of come in, he's trimmed it, he's taken the meat that starts up here and he's kind of shaved it off so that you get this exposed bone.
And why does that matter?
Well, I think for the most part, really, it's just presentation. It kind of gives us the look that we're going for. And if you've ever seen a crown rack, you'll know what I'm talking about, but we'll show you here in this video. And the butcher's also already kind of trimmed off the fat, so we're ready to get going on what it is we need to do to make this look like the crown rack.
Perfect.
So what we want to do to begin with is you take your knife, and we're just gonna score a little bit, maybe about a ½ inch, maybe a little less than a ½ inch in between each bone. Now doing this is going to allow for this to kind of open up when we cook it and give it that signature look of a crown rack. Okay. Another tip that might help, because if you do this, it gets a little bit stiff. So if we lay it down on its back here and find between each bone, oh, there's one of them ready to go. If you find between each bone, as you kind of separate those, just give it a little score, and that's going to allow for it to also
open up a bit.
Open up and bend a little bit more. Okay, so that's the goal here. So that one's all done, ready to go. We're going to do this other one here in just 1 second. I'm going to go check on the roast.
Cool. So if you guys are just joining us now, we are going to show you today how to make a crown rack of lamb. And John's starting to prep that for us. He's checking on the one we have cooking right now. You guys get a little sneak peek of that. If you're just joining us, we're doing a giveaway today, and it is an awesome one. When we hit 800 shares on this video, we will be giving away one of those pellet grills you see right there. One of our Smoke Pro SE models. And a free bag of pellets. So pretty much everything you need to get started smoking your very own rack of lamb like we have here. And if you missed the little beginning part, all John has done so far is just score between the bones to help give you that spread whenever you go to put together that crown rack like we all know and love.
So let's do it on this next one so you can all see it again. We're going to start off by, in between each bone, about a ½ inch.
And for people just joining in now, John, why is it that we're doing this again?
Well, you score it there so that it can kind of spread out, and you can kind of get that what resembles a crown, which is why this is called a crown rack. The other thing that's going to help is if you take the two bones and kind of find the in between them and just give it a little score, not too much, just enough to kind of allow for it to take off some of that tension, right? And that'll help to give you that nice curve that you're looking for.
Awesome.
So now there's a couple ways we can do this. We can tie it right now and then we can season it. I like to season it first, season it flat so that I know exactly how much seasonings I've gotten on there. So to do that, we're just going to start with some garlic, maybe. And then we've got some rosemary here. And then we want to add some salt to this. And quite a bit of salt there. We will give it a little dusting of salt before we put it in. And then some olive oil. Oh! That's a big old truck.
A nice truck friend going by.
So then we just want to make sure that we get this nice and mixed up. Get a great paste in here. And then we're just going to get this this brush, and we're going to brush it right on.
Yeah.
So there is a membrane, just like there would be with your baby back ribs, that comes along here. For the rack of lamb, I've never really found that it gets in the way. There's no real meat behind there. You know, the meaty section is here, and by the time you get back to the bone, it's really just bone. So I don't really worry too much about that membrane. It's not gonna cause any problems. And you're slicing right through it to kind of get that shape that you want. So I really don't think that that's something you need to pull off.
If someone did want to pull it off,
yeah, if they did, I mean, it would be just like if you wanted to. I mean, I'm sure you could just kind of score the back of the bone there and get in there and grab that membrane, and then pull it off. Or, I mean, if it's a real problem and you think, maybe just ask your butcher. If you're gonna have your butcher Frenching this thing anyway, just have him remove the membrane while he's at it.
Perfect.
So then we are just gonna baste these.
And while we're watching John do that, I'm gonna check on how many shares we have so far on this video. 112, guys. We're at almost 350 live viewers, so thanks so much for joining us. We are doing a giveaway today. We are giving away one of our Smoke Pro SEs, which is what you see right here. We're cooking on it today, and a free bag of pellets. Both of those things together is going to go to one of you guys as soon as we hit 800 shares. You can like and comment to enter, and everything else is the same. So make sure you guys are sharing this with your friends so they can get in on the fun too and have a chance to win that awesome prize and make their own crown rack of lamb like we're doing today.
So now that we've got I mean, this thing is pretty much covered in that garlic and rosemary, a little bit of olive oil. Obviously it's got some salt inside of that, but not quite enough in my mind. I like a lot of salt.
John's famous around the office for putting a lot of salt on the stuff he cooks.
So we're just gonna add a little bit more salt and pepper just to the outside of this, right?
What kind of salt are you using, John?
Well, this salt right here is just a kosher salt. And just coat that. We're gonna add a little bit of pepper. Yeah. And I like a lot of pepper. My wife does not like a lot of pepper. She hates it when I put as much pepper on things as I do. But I think, you know, that pepper kind of helps it to give it a nice dark crust, I think. So we're gonna give it as much pepper as I'd like, because I'm making this and you're not. But obviously salt and pepper is both to taste on this.
Now, as a meat, lamb, John, would you say that is a meat that needs a lot of flavoring, needs a lot of seasoning rub, that kind of stuff? Or?
You know, I find that it does, but that's maybe just my personal preference. I think that steak and red meat is something that salt and pepper is really all you need to really make a good steak. I think that lamb goes a long way if you can get some of those aromatics in there, get some garlic and some rosemary, and I think that it's going to help really bring it up a level with your cooking. So now the hard part, or the fun part,
the famous part,
however you want to look at it. Basically what we want to do is we want to take these two pieces and we want to make them a circle. Right?
There's that famous crown shape that we
so this is what we're going for, and in order to get that, we're going to need a little bit of butcher's twine. And we're using just some standard cotton string butcher twine.
You can get that at the store.
Yep. For the most part, and if you know your butcher, just ask them. I mean, they've got it. They use it every day. And really all we're going to do is we're going to go around this as many times as we think we need to. I think probably about 3 for us. Just wrap it around. And I'm going
it in any particular places?
Yeah, so I'm going to go in the middle, and then on the second pass I'm going to go a little bit lower. And then on the third pass I'm going to bring it up here closer to the bone to kind of get that to be tight up at the top as well. And then just finish tying that off, and looks like that's in a pretty good position. I'm just gonna do just a little granny knot there, you know, and then it's slipped up a little bit. Like, this is not supposed to be this. There we go. Difficult there, right? And so now we've got the crown rack. Okay, and I mean, that right there is ready to go in the oven. But before we do that, we're going to show you just a really quick side dish to go with it. So we've got a little bit of these of this oil and such left over.
If you guys are just joining us, we put rosemary, garlic, olive oil, and salt.
And salt.
In our little...
So then we just got some red potatoes. We're going to add that right to the bowl. And I know you're all probably thinking, well, you just basted meat with that. That's going to be some pretty gross cross-contamination. It's all going to cook out because we're going to just roast all these together with the rack. So we don't need to really worry too much about any sort of contamination on that.
And you can put all of this right in the pellet grill and it'll cook it all.
And that is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to put all this in the pellet grill, right? So potatoes are famous for needing extra salt. So after...
Of course.
And I'm famous for needing extra salt, apparently. So we are going to, after we've seasoned that with the oil, I'm going to go ahead and dump this into cast iron. Now, ideally, we'd probably have this in the smoker before, and then we pull it out warm, and then just go ahead and drop these in. You know, get kind of a nice flat level, and then I'm going to add a little bit of salt.
If you guys are just joining us, we are giving away our pellet grill today. I mean, not the one we're using, because we'll give you a nice clean new one, but once we hit 800 shares on this video, we're going to give away one of these guys, our Smoke Pro SE, and a free bag of pellets. So everything you need to get started right away, doing your own little crown rack of lamb, or whatever else you might want to cook out on your back patio. So 800 shares, like and comment to enter. You guys will have until midnight tonight to enter.
Speaking of crown rack,
this is what...
I mean, that guy right there is done. Let's check on these potatoes. And they're looking pretty good. Give them a little stir. They maybe need a couple more minutes, which is perfect because we're going to need to rest this crown rack right here.
What temperature are you going for on lamb?
On lamb?
Yeah.
The rarer the better. And I know that scares a lot of people, but for lamb, you want to stay at about 125 to 130. If you go any higher than that, you start getting a little bit of a gamey flavor, and it starts getting real tough. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this right out. We're going to let this rest on the cutting board, and I think what we'll do is actually pull it right off that pan so it stops cooking. Because we don't want it to continue cooking on this hot pan. And the reason I put it on a pan is just to kind of give it a little bit more of an even cook, so that we're not getting too much heat from the bottom, so that we can get the nice cook on the inside top of part of that rack.
And here is our finished crown rack of lamb. We made this one the exact same way we just showed you earlier with the one that we are about to put on the grill. We're gonna let it rest for a little while.
Let's just throw this one right in, right back on that same pan, just save dishes for me anyway. And that goes in. We're gonna start that off at 450 degrees, just like you would in your home oven. 450 degrees. We're gonna do that for about 10 to 12 minutes. It always helps if you have a probe that can go into the meat. And we're gonna send this probe in so we can put it into the meat. And that's gonna guarantee that's gonna be hot still. So grab that probe, we're gonna stick it right into the meat. And we're gonna watch that. I totally forgot what I was talking about. Probe, you want the probe into the meat. Start it off at 450 degrees for about 12 minutes. And then we're gonna turn it down to 300 and we're gonna let it go until it hits temperature.
Which remind me what that is again.
125 to 130 degrees, no more. For lamb, it's gotta be at that temperature. Okay. Other than that, I think we're all ready to go. Let's pull out these other potatoes and check them out. Granted, I know you're supposed to let this lamb rest, but we just pulled it out. I'm gonna set that right there. Those potatoes are looking nice and crispy, at least most of them.
Roasted red potatoes.
And I mean, that was just simple olive oil, the garlic, the rosemary, the salt, and the pepper. And I think those are gonna turn out awesome. And then other than that, I think we're ready to go. So let's actually move over here and cut it open.
That
Do you want
sounds
to go?
good. Yeah, I'll go right here.
Okay.
Get the close up. And we are at 432 shares. So you guys keep sharing. We're gonna give one of our Smoke Pro SEs away at 800. So keep sharing. Even after this video is done, keep on sharing, and you can like and comment to enter, and we'll announce the winner tomorrow.
Okay, so all you have to do now is just take off that twine that you put on to begin with. That rack's gonna fall right apart. I mean, I would present it like this on the table with the twine on. Impress your guests for sure. But once you've done that, then you just want to take that apart and maybe go 2 pieces per. And we slide that down. Got that nice pink there in the center. And that's looking pretty good. I would say that's a perfect rack of lamb.
That does look good.
You know, maybe we just
Get a close-up, nice little close-up of that. All we did, we put olive oil, garlic, rosemary on this, and salt and pepper.
You know, I would...
John's gonna plate it for us.
Nothing too fancy, but do something like that. Couple of potatoes. And I tell you what, if it's my plate, we're doing this. And we're going twice. Oh.
Boom. There's your crown rack of lamb. Easy peasy. Do you want to give it a taste test, John?
Yeah, I'll taste it. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut that down. And then, I don't know, eat it like a meat popsicle, or you can cut off a little piece of it. And
how'd you do?
it's perfect. I mean, it's tender, it's soft, it's perfectly seasoned.
To your taste,
Just
yes.
enough salt. And I think if you've never had lamb, which I find a lot of people haven't, because it looks intimidating. I mean, that crown rack looks really cool and really intimidating. Super easy to do, as we've just shown you. Really yummy, as long as you don't overcook it. And very impressive for all your guests. You know, I don't really know what else to say.
Give that a try on your pellet grill this weekend, you guys.
How long did you let it rest?
We should let it rest probably longer than we did.
Should have let it rest for about 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Cover it with your foil. That's another thing that you see a lot of, is people will cover these bones. Now the reason why they cover the bones is so they don't get these little charred tips. For presentation wise, they like a nice white light bone on there. So people will come in with little things and cover it. You can do that if you want. You can come in with a little piece of tin foil that just kind of sits on top and protects it from getting too burnt. I don't think that looks bad. I like the way that looks, a little bit more rustic. And I think that that's, you know, a pretty simple, impressive meal that you can be cooking for someone.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Sean, for showing us this. If you guys make this recipe, take pictures, let us know. We want to see it. Tag us, #CampChef, #FeedYourOutside, all of those things. We'd love to see your shot at this crown rack of lamb. And one more time, what are we giving away, John?
So the SE right here, this is the Camp Chef Smoke Pro SE.
And a free bag of pellets.
And a free bag of pellets to get you started. So you'll have everything that you need to make this awesome meal.
All right, 800 shares. Like and comment to enter. You have until midnight, and we will see you guys later.
Thanks, guys.